I'm Matt Braunger. This might help.
I am not a doctor.
This might help.
I'm not a professional.
Let's have fun. This honestly is a good time.
Honestly, I got no idea what I'm doing. What's going on? Who are you?
I'm Matt Braunger. This might help. The podcast.
Hey, and welcome to This Might Help with Matt Braunger. A lot of you might be listening and going, hey, what the shit happened to advice from a dipshit? Well, I explained it on the very last episode. If you missed it, Amanda and I have parted ways. Cue the aww there. But it was a good thing. We love each other very much, always will, in a viciously platonic way, though she is attractive. And we just decided, look, we're better off separately. She had a bunch of podcasts going on. I wanted to go it alone, which I originally was. I've kind of always been a lone wolf, a real bad boy. Just ask anyone that grew up with me. Just like that dude, you know, he doesn't F around that Bronx. That's not true. What is true is I'm an only child, and I kind of like having my own little thing. And what this show is going to be is me or me and a guest. More often than not, me and a guest. And for those of you who it's your first time listening to this, what I do on my show is I have a bunch of wonderful people, some of them maniacs, that call in and leave anonymous messages on my hotline. I never listen to them. I'm working with a new crew now, so Amanda will no longer be listening to them. It'll be my new main man, Renee, and my other new main man, Chris, and they're going to, you know, cull through and pick ones to throw me. And the fun thing about that is, you know, it's great for the listener because I wouldn't say often flummoxed. I can usually think on my feet pretty well and shoot from the hip, so to speak. But every once in a while, someone says something so bananas that it takes me a second. And it's always funny, which is the great thing. It's a podcast. Now it's called This Might Help because it's kind of like, shit, I don't know. This might help. Here, take this. Hopefully. I don't have any kind of giant idea of like, I'm out to change the world. What we need to do is reach out. And all that stuff is true. But look, what I'm about is entertainment. I just want to make people laugh. That's all I've ever wanted to do. If it changes your life in a good way. I do get a lot of people coming up to me at shows that say really nice things and go, dude, I love the podcast. It helped me get through some hard times. And listen, there's nothing better to hear. That's really awesome. But bottom line, if you have this on the same shelf as, say, like a self-help podcast or that kind of thing, it's not alien to that world, but it doesn't belong to it. This is more for entertainment. Case in point, that dude who called in, for those of you who non-listeners, like many of you, someone called in. I've just been told to look into the camera. Excuse me. By the way, this is our inaugural. This is our first at the new studio. This is the first This Might Help. So I'm still kind of learning the ropes. I'm sitting on a chair that feels like a strange gay saddle, which I'm not against. Kind of into it. It's got a nice feel. And I'm looking at the camera. So basically, I had someone called in on the show that said, hey, man, I got a bunch of roommates, and we got a possum in the attic, and I want to get it out. So I'm thinking a good idea would be to take acid and put on boxing gloves and go get it. And so Amanda and I went back and forth and got into a thing where she thought he was going to go up there to box it, to go head-to-head with a possum and punch it. I said, no, he's going to use those boxing gloves to lift it up and lift it out of there, which is, both ideas are insane. You don't punch a possum, right? You put it in a bag or you shoot it. Sorry, possum lovers. You want to get it out of the house. I mean, they have needle teeth. Stop it. But his idea was to grab it, the other stupid idea, with the gloves and lift it up, you know, throw it out of the house. No, boxing gloves are smooth. It's going to slip past the gloves and scratch your face. Work gloves, if anything, or a rake. I don't know. Both those ideas are insane. So that's the kind of call we often get. That's on the extreme. We also have people who are like, I don't know how to break up with my boyfriend. We also have people who are like, my parents don't accept or embrace the fact that I'm gay and I've been married for years. We get all kinds. We get a lot of serious ones, but I kind of try to find the humor in them, I guess, just to give you a little background. As we all know, the pilot episode of any television series, or even in that case podcast, there's a certain amount of exposition. So please bear with me. We will definitely get our legs by the second episode, but I think we're already kind of fucking there, honestly. I'm killing it. But basically, people call in and I try to give the best advice I can. I give it sincerely. I honestly don't give dipshit advice. That was one problem with the old name for the podcast, is that, I mean, yeah, I've done dipshitty things, but I'm not a dipshit. I could name at least 4 of my friends that are far more dipshitty than me, and there are far more people on this earth, I would argue. Me calling myself a dipshit, it doesn't really help anything, because someone's going to listen to this and expect me to give dumb advice. Expect someone to call in and be like, I have a fear of fire. And I'd be like, you need to douse yourself in gasoline and face your fears, Bubba. Woo! And that's what no one wants. That's insane. Maybe you're into that, but I'm not here to actually give dipshit advice, quote unquote. So it was kind of false advertising. And also, speaking of advertising, we'd hit a wall every time we tried to promote on Facebook or any kind of paid promotion, advertising, because we had a curse word in our name. And a lot of times people see the names of podcasts and, you would get probably a lot of listeners if you had a podcast called Fuck the World, but Unfuck Yourself, with your host, Fuckity Johnny. A lot of people would listen to that podcast probably, but at the same time, it's a little grating. So This Might Help is the name, as far as I'm concerned, from now on and forever, because I dig it, because that's just how I feel about it. It's like, hey, this might help, or this might help. Like, I really don't know. It might, but it's going to be funny. So on that note, enough talk. Let's hear the very first call on This Might Help. Roll it, Chris.
Hi, quick question. My old lady, neighbor, 2 doors down.
Okay.
She's usually out every morning, every day, with a drink in her hand, hanging out with her tiny dog. And anyway, sorry, long story short, haven't seen her for a while. I don't think she has any relatives. No one ever really talks to her. She's nice, but, excuse me, bad time to burp. When you have a old lady living near you, what time should I check on her? Should I check on her, or should I hope for the best and not wait for a smell? Real story. Counting the days, I guess, until I see her. Thanks a lot. Love the show. Bye.
Hey, man. Well, thanks for feeling that way and not putting it out of your mind. One thing I always give people credit for is even calling at all. We used to have people call and go, all right, I guess this one's kind of dumb, but it's like, hey, it's just like going to exercise class. You showed up. Maybe you're sitting in the corner eating a bag of Ruffles, but God damn it, you're there. Thanks for calling. Really appreciate the sentiment. And, I mean, you sound like you lean a little dark, bruh, but you're a good-hearted guy, and you're like, should I, and not wait for a smell. Jesus, that's jumping from point A to point Z. Good Lord. The beginning to the end. Conversation with a friend, to they're dead and rotten. Look, I think you should check on her, yeah. If... I don't know how many of those day drinks she was having, and God bless her. That's her God-given American right. But look, I just feel like, yeah, just stop by, because I always go like, all right, what would I want someone to do for me? It's golden rule. It's basic stuff. If you're very old, one thing that I can tell some of you young folk out there that are younger than I am, and if you've never listened to the show and you've only seen pictures of me, I'm 45 years old, and I know I just blew your goddamn minds. And also, I didn't want to bring this up, but like when I was in Bloomington, Indiana last weekend, it's a college town, and you are just catnip for the college girls. They're just like, ugh, is he 45? Fucking hot. Delicious. Oh, man. Does he have a graying beard? That is what I'm into. Not these young guys with stamina. But look, joke aside, as I've gotten older, one thing I've noticed is you kind of get a little bit more afraid of death. It's just something that, it's not that I was never afraid of death. I think I've had that since I learned about the existence of hell as a Catholic, which I don't think is, look, between you and me, I don't think it's real, hell. But you get older, you kind of go, oh wait, the inevitable is coming, and I might be closer to it than I'm further away, like I used to be. And very elderly people, they're alone a lot of the time because, and this is a fucked up thing to say or admit, most of us, if we're honest in our subconscious, we kind of avoid older people because they're a reminder of our imminent mortality for all of us. So I always make it a point to talk to older people in my neighborhood and kind of check on them. Side note, my mom does this awesome thing where she has a community. It's this thing called, I think it's called The Village, and it's in every major city. My folks are in Portland, and they do a massive amount of charity. If you know my comedy, you know the bit I have about how I think my parents make up charities to fuck with me. Like, they are always doing stuff that's like, wait, what? You didn't do that. You did? So my parents run a food pantry, but they have this thing where folks like them that are like 70 and up have a network of people of all ages in their neighborhood. So let's say, oh, my left arm's numb, I feel something coming on. You can call the hospital, but also call someone 2 doors down and go, look, can you come by? I'm really scared. Or on a larger level, it helps them not have to move out of their house when they get very old because they have a network of people that are helping them. So, I mean, I think one of our biggest fears as human beings is ever moving into a retirement home. That just sounds terrifying. Like, what, you work your whole life, you raise a family, and your ungrateful kids put you in a place where you just eat warm yogurt and sit in a room? Fuck you, Chad. Why did I have you? My son's an asshole, you know? Who wouldn't feel that way? So I just think it's important to check on that person and just say hi. Like, you can make up an excuse. Just go like, what I do is I make a ton of cold brew. And so I'll be like, hey, I got an extra bottle, which I probably shouldn't bring cold brew to elderly people. It might kill them. I mean, I make gasoline strength. Like, we've all been there where you have that cup of cold brew and you're just like, holy shit. What are the signs of a heart attack? My left eye is sweating. So, you know, my answer to you is just do it. Just be brave, man, and walk over and just knock on the door and just say, hey, I just want to say, hey, just checking on you. And they'll be so touched. It's funny. There's a lady that shares a fence with us named Bernice in our neighborhood. And every time I see her, I have to reintroduce myself because she forgets. And but she's hilarious. And when she met my wife, she was like, oh, I'm Bernice. I live in that house. My husband's dead. I'm probably going to die in that house too. Like that was her intro. Like, all right. Good to know. That's a crazy bio. You're pretty metal, Bernice. So yeah, go check on her, man. Hope that helped. And yeah, stay dark. What's the next call, bro?
Hi, Matt. My name is Christina, and I'm an actor that is looking into writing. And
Boo!
I think
kidding.
I'm onto a really great story. But my question is, how do you go about writing something that is potentially damaging to your relationships or just a taboo subject?
Oh, my God.
The reason I ask is because I have a very close friend of mine, and I think that we have a really fun and unique relationship. And I would like to write a story about it because we are so very different people. I live a pretty chaste life, and she is a sex worker. And I don't think it's a bad thing, and I think that she is a wonderful person, and she's an interesting and complex person at that, and I think we have a really fun and interesting dynamic. So I just don't want to alienate all my family and friends because I want to write about this really super sensitive subject matter. So I'm just curious, how do you think I should handle something like this? Because I do want to be true to myself as an artist. Thank you for the advice, and I really, really love the podcast. Bye.
Wow. Well, thanks for calling in. What a great call. I would say give up on your dreams. Next call. I'm kidding. No, thank you for calling. That's kind of the essence of being an artist. I think the thing is, I've said this before, more often than not, when you call in, you know what you should do. You know, I've talked about how I have a friend that has a tattoo on his arm that just says, you know. Because we all basically in our heart of hearts know the right thing. And you look at that and you go, shit, I know. You make up excuses to not do the thing you should do. You should definitely write about your friend. Talk to your friend about it. Make sure your friend is okay with it. Obviously don't use their name and everything, and make sure it's not exploitative. But at the same time, you can't censor yourself, not as an artist. I get a lot of people that talk to me about my comedy and go, why don't you talk about how you're such a hot dude that, chicks want to bone all the time? And I'm like, well, I don't find, and of course no one says that, but people ask me, how do you choose like to do stuff in terms of expressing your political views, or whether you're going to curse or not, do blue material, AKA dirty material. I just do what I think is funny. And if it falls into any of those categories, then fine. What you have to do as an artist is it something that lights your fire, that you want to write about, that you find interesting, that you think is important? And I think that topic, in your heart of hearts, is important because you're close to it, and it's something you find fascinating. You described yourself as kind of a chaste person. I think rather than just write about your friend, write about yourself and your friend, and your relationship as friends, and how you... This is just me spitballing. Do not take this advice as that's what to do, but that's an idea. But I don't think you should ever cut something out because you think it's going to offend your family if it's not something you find offensive. I think that's the bottom line. We all start out with the idea of like, oh, I gotta rebel, I gotta be different. But it's deeper than that. It's not just like you want to piss off your parents. You just want your parents to let you be you. And traditionally, parents, throughout the ages have not been cool with that. They've been like, I don't want you to be you. I want you to be me. Be me, but better. Do what I say, not what I do. Now I'm going to go get fucked up and look at porn, but don't you do that. You be a good boy. You be a better man, but like me, something that I'm comfortable with. I mean, it's why parents have not been comfortable with having gay kids or trans kids, or now non-binary, that kind of thing, because it's just not them and it's not something they understand. Sorry to quote Batman, but we always fear what we don't understand. That's not just Batman, that's literature. But you get what I'm saying? So this is something you understand that a lot of people do not understand. So I would say you got to write about it. You kind of don't have any choice in the matter if you want to be an artist. I'm not saying that's all you should write about, but also, I'm sure you value your friends' relationships, so check in with them, see if they're cool with you writing about it, and then kind of go from there. Or don't. If you want to kind of write it on your own and get it where you want it to be, and then ask them if they'll look at it, because in the end, it's a bit of a tightrope, but we all get to write whatever we want to write. I'll give you an example. When I was in Chicago, I had a girlfriend who broke up with me in a wine bar. And I had a joke about how that was so emasculating, where I was like, just take me to a real bar and dump me, where men go. God damn it. I'm sipping a glass of rosé and you dump me? Like I already know the deck is stacked. You got back together with me because I wanted us back together and I knew you were going to dump me. And I asked for it. We're walking in and I was like, oh, God, you're going to break up with me, aren't you? And I said it to her. She's like, I just don't think it's going. Just let me get a shot and a Pabst for the love of my manhood. So it was like a joke that I'd do, And she heard about it and was just like, so I hear you doing jokes about me breaking up with you. And it's like, yeah, because you fucking broke up with me and now it's grist for the mill. And look, I wasn't up there going, hey, you guys know Kristen? Like I wasn't talking about her as her name. I had no vendetta. She didn't love me anymore. If you can believe it. But, it's it's just, the thing is, you got to write what you got to write about. And I think the thing going on with you and your friend is fascinating. And I think, like I said, you just don't want to make it like an exploitation piece. Because you, as you admitted, you are the chaste one. So if you come out with a book next year that's called My Friend Fucks for Cash, I don't know, I might look down on you. But not a bad title. Going to throw that out there. I know I talked earlier in the show about, we got to keep the cursing down, but just saying, My Friend Fucks for Cash, that might make you some cash. I would call Random House right now. No, don't do that. You got to get a literature agent first. Just FYI, in case you were wondering. But yeah, if you're going to write, you got to write, and write every single day. My cousin's an author, and I've been working on some writing, and I'll send him stuff, and he'll edit it and thrash it and go move this here and get rid of this and stuff. You kind of have to be like that with yourself. You got to be merciless to make it good. And, I think that's Hemingway. Hemingway said that. He's like just you have to be heartless when it comes to your art. Just no matter if you're in love with something, take it out. So I don't know. I think maybe write about the two of you, and you might, looking at it, go, I think my friend is the least interesting part of this. Take them out, but who knows? So thanks for calling in. That's a really important question, and I hope everybody listening, the only thing I wish you took out of everything I said is that chicks really want to fuck me. Okay, what's the next call?
Hey, dipshit. This is Otto from Chicago,
Cool.
And I'm in a bit of a pickle. So, I'm currently living with an ex-girlfriend, and she's kind of trapped in my apartment. She has a torn hamstring as a result of a bedroom injury. Nothing crazy that we were doing, just the leg went the wrong way. And I want her to leave. I can't take care of her anymore. A little background. I went through a bad breakup last year that butted right up against my dad dying and having to take care of him and all of that. And then I moved back to Chicago, and I got right into this relationship that ended about 2 weeks ago. And I feel guilty that she moved in and that I told her that I thought everything was okay, but we went to visit Rochester, where I'm from. That might be too much info. I came flooding back, and I realized when I got back that I need to be alone and work on myself. And she's upset, understandably. It's kind of blindsided for her, but it wasn't working either way. And yeah, so I guess my question is there any way to get her out where I'm not mean, or I'm not a jerk? I don't think there is. Little side note, she doesn't have any friends, and her family won't help her.
Oh, God.
So I really feel like I'm stuck here, and I feel like a child, like a helpless child, Matt. And, yeah, generally we're a pretty happy guy. All right. Love your stand-up. Love you. Love this show. Love Ding Donger, too. I missed that one. But, hey, this is even better. Hope to see you again soon live. You're awesome. Love you. Bye. Thanks, buddy.
Well, thank you, Otto. Crap. That's tough. I think you have to be kind. It sounds like you're being kind. Don't be so hard on yourself. That's we always tend to think of like, oh, you got to be nice and to people around you. But at the same time, being nice to other people means being nice to yourself. So be nice to yourself. You did not choose to put this woman in this situation. And that it's funny. Leg injuries in the bedroom happen more often than I think people think about. Because you're kind of lost in the moment of passion. Your leg goes one way. You're like shit. It just happens. I had a guy the first time I played Las Vegas. Here's a side note. I was at the Riviera, RIP, and I was featuring the guy, and the headliner had a bit about like he blew his knee out having sex with his wife. Like, ow, Jesus! So it does happen, as you know. And so when you're like, I know it's weird. It's like as soon as you said that, there's no mental image that came to mind or anything. But look, I think you are in a pickle, and that's okay. I talk about it all the time. How to paraphrase, if you are in a pickle, admit you're in a pickle. Don't be like, yeah, things are fine. I want to kill myself so bad. Don't do that. Just admit that things, frankly, suck right now for you and for her, because you've told her that you don't care for her anymore that way. And honestly, I give you that credit, because that's one of the hardest things to do in this life, is tell a person that you don't have those feelings for them anymore. It's the finality of it is vicious. You feel bad for the other person. You're all alone because you're no longer the caring one. So it sucks, man, and it sucks that she's immobile. But look, two things. It's not your fault her family doesn't talk to her, and it might not be her fault either. I'm not saying it is. The fact that she doesn't really have friends, kind of her fault, but also another way to look at it is her preference probably too. That's probably what she likes. Maybe she just likes having a one partner. Let's take a second and talk about the Pygmy Hippo. Now, when I lived in Chicago, I used to wander over to the Lincoln Park Zoo. It's a free zoo. I lived a couple blocks from it, and it had a Pygmy Hippo, one of my favorite animals in the goddamn world, because it's about the size of a big dog, but it's a hippo. I'm just going to let that sink in for a moment for you people listening at home, all right, or watching this. I mean, holy shit. You had a dog-sized hippo? You'd be the king of the world. So I'd go visit him. And the reason there was only one of them is because pygmy hippos are either by themselves or with a mate. That's it. They don't run in packs. They're always on their own, which always struck me as odd because they're little, you know. You'd think that, you know, you'd worry about them getting cuddled to death, but, you know, it's just them or two of them. You know, there's a lone wolf. And I used to go watch that goddamn cute bastard play with a ball in the water, just push it around with his fat hippo nose. And, like, I'm digressing. I think your girlfriend probably has the same mentality as a pygmy hippo. I'm not saying she's a hippo. I'm saying she either wants to be with you or by herself. And so now she's just kind of got to be by herself. So I think it's kind of your duty to look after her to some degree, but at the same time, she's got to move out if she can. If she can't, she's got to come up with a plan. And now here's the hard part. Here's the hard part of the advice. You have to sit down with her and talk it out. And you have to talk it out heartlessly. And that's not a term I like to use. But I think it's better for her and it's better for you to just go, look, I don't want you here. What can we do? And she'll be like, but I just feel like if I stay, nope. But like, you know, you can learn to love someone. I can't, not with you. I don't have those feelings. Like, it's going to be fucking hard for you, dude. It's going to be so hard to just be like, no. What's the plan? She probably has to go through all the stages of denial. But the final stage is acceptance. So you just got to get her there as fast as you can. I mean, I don't think I have to say don't be a dick because you don't sound like a dick. You sound like a normal, good dude in a tough situation. So I don't know, man. It strikes me as a little odd, if I may be a little conspiracy theory-ish, that her family won't talk to her and she has no friends. I mean, is that all from her mouth? Are you sure? And I'm not saying spy on her, but talk to her about it. Go, look, you don't have anyone. No one can just help you move into a new place. I'll help you move, but I can't do it alone, you know? And look, it's a hamstring. She's not in a body cast. So look on the bright side, you know? You guys didn't have, you know, bone pulverizing sex. Sorry. Anyway, I hope you guys can part ways amicably, and I hope she gets out of your house, you know, and it, without a ton of collateral damage and all that. So it's tough, man. You are in a pickle. So thanks for calling in, Otto, and I appreciate you. Let's have another call.
Hey, Matt. Big fan of the show. I'm about to try and buy my own house, right? First-time home buyer. I work construction. I am a contractor. I am excited for this because I want to buy a house, remodel it, maybe flip it, or just buy a house, remodel it, and then live there. But I was recently told by a close friend, oh, you got to buy in this area. It's being gentrified. Now, I know that that's either a bad word or a good word. I'm leaning on bad because I don't think he knows what it is, but I don't know enough about the word or what it means to tell him different or decide different. So, I mean, I can do pretty much anything you can think of except for electrical and plumbing. But I got guys for that.
Cool.
I got buddies, and they'll do it for a beer, you know. What is your advice? Should I go into this neighborhood and, quote-unquote, gentrify it? Is that a bad thing? Would I be a bad person? What should I do? What does gentrify mean? Okay, I love you. Bye.
Hey, man.
Also, I'm not a bad person. If
Yeah.
that's what that means.
No.
Okay.
Cool, man. If you're done. No, I don't think you're a bad person because you're being honest. You're admitting you don't know what it means, which is better than a huge percentage of people in most major cities. It is a vilified term. It's a term wherein basically your affluent, your white people move into traditionally non-affluent, non-white neighborhoods and drive the property values up, therefore driving out the people that had lived there for much longer. And look, it is mostly bad in terms of people having a good quality of life, in terms of people who are on the low income spectrum getting kind of wiped out. But I really think it's almost like how we blame the economy, we blame we blame progress for this happening, when in effect it's basically landlord greed. They don't have to charge what the market says. And look, I'm a landlord. I own a house in Portland that I rent out to I don't know who. I don't know who's in there. I have a management company. I think it's healthier to not know who's in there, but they've been screened and all that jazz, so I know it's the house is safe and all that thing. But I probably could have charged a lot more than I did. And look, I'm not undercutting myself. I want to make a profit. It's my house. But I think once the greed heads kind of come into these neighborhoods, they drive up the property. Here's the thing. You don't sound like that guy. And in terms of should I gentrify? That's a really strong term. You're buying a house you're going to live in and maybe flip, but you're not buying 5 of them. And look, my point is this. My advice to you is don't just take your friend's advice. Go to that neighborhood at night. Go at night. Go see if you feel safe. Check it out. See if you like the feeling of it. Because the thing is, man, you're going to put all that work into it. It sounds like you're going to move in. This is your first house. You're probably going to live in it for at least a little bit, because why would you pay rent somewhere else while you're fixing this place up? I mean, up until you're done fixing it. But it sounds like you kind of want that kind of thing. You want your own place that you want to build your own equity rather than just keep paying the rent to somebody who's, it's a renting. Really, in the end of the day, is a money pit. If you can afford it to just keep paying and paying and paying, great. But most people do it by necessity, So yeah, I think just go to these various places, check them out, see where you want to live, see what feels best to you, see what you're comfortable with, and then and then that's how you pick the place. Don't depend on your friend, because look, I live in a neighborhood that is very hip, very cool. It kind of reminds me of in Los Angeles. It kind of reminds me of like how Park Slope in Brooklyn is, where all the hipsters walk around with their strollers. That's how my neighborhood is. It's hip people with strollers and people that have been there for a long time. Like, we bought our house from the family of a guy who lived there until his 90s, and the last time my house had anything done to it was the 70s, and the only way we could afford this house is because it needed everything. And so it sounds like you're gonna need that same kind of luck, where you find a place that people are like, it's just going to cost too much to fix this up. But you have that skill, and you have your friends who will do stuff. And by the way, if someone's doing extensive electrical work, you need to pay them more than a beer, because you're going to die in the shower when you touch the faucet and get electrocuted. Just side note. But don't just get an electrician who works for beers, especially while he's working. But get a place that works for you, that is, a fixer-upper in the best neighborhood that you're comfortable with, that you can find. Maybe you want something quirky, maybe something a little more fun. I know people that live all over Los Angeles, and I use Los Angeles as a microcosm of the rest of the country. And there are people who are listening who are just like, you're out of your mind. Well, look, Los Angeles is a place, say what you want about it, but everybody lives here. You name a kind of person, they're here. Everybody. Every kind of social strata, every kind of ethnicity, every kind of sexual preference, every kind of level of wealth is here. And so you have all these different kinds of neighborhoods. So I think, man, my best advice to you is find out about neighborhoods, how they feel, and drive around to various ones, and then look for houses that way. I think your friend's looking for a come up for you, which is nice. He wants you to get a place that is going to explode in value, but there's no real way to tell that. There are places in my town that people are like, oh, this is going to be the next Echo Park. This is going to be the next Silver Lake. And they don't know. Like, they don't know. I mean, you kind of just got to pick the place that's right for you, that has the most bang for your buck. Because right now, buying real estate is definitely the best investment you can do. And so you're kind of in the driver's seat because you can afford one of these places, and you know how to fix it up. So that's awesome. I always talk about one reason I love the Property Brothers, and not just because they're beautiful Canadian twins, but like I love them because they're not ripping people off, because they're Canadian. It's not in their DNA, like us pirate Americans. So watching that show, I always get pissed off when people like are angry, like, you didn't say that would happen with the house. You didn't say you'd find black mold in the walls. I'm like, fuck you, because I have a house I live in and a house I rent, and I don't know how to do shit. Like, my father-in-law is an engineer. He knows how to fix stuff. He knows how to do plumbing and stuff. I have friends that, without them, a dude can come to my house and just knock on stuff and be like, nope, that's bad. 30 grand. And I'd be like, all right, here. Like, I don't know. I don't know what costs. So you do. So you're not going to get effed over, and that's great. So gentrify or don't, I don't think, at least what it sounds like your level of income is, I don't think you're a danger to the people that live in that neighborhood. I think the problem is these businesses moving in and people like getting their entire apartment building raised from the earth, and then a condo building gets built that still only rents. So it doesn't even provide housing people can buy. It's just a way to jack more money out of people because the area has a cool coffee shop, in a sense. So, yeah, dude, just get the house you want and take your friend's advice with a big handful of salt. So look, I think we're going to stop right there. We're about cresting the 40 minutes mark, and I think we had a good time. I think I made your day better. So you should say a big thank you to me. No, I'm kidding. Thank you for listening to this podcast, which is, I've been doing this thing for a few years. We started doing the advice thing a little over 2 years ago, and the last incarnation of the podcast was just about the advice, and we're going to continue that on. So I appreciate you staying with me, or if this is your first time, welcome to the party, pal, to quote John McClane, Die Hard, classic Christmas movie, the greatest one of all time. And tell your friends. If you dig it, give us a nice rating, and you're going to get a huge plethora of great guests coming up. My aim is to not only have comedians on, but have just interesting people from all facets of life, and see how they roll with what I do. I'm really loving having a situation set up like this where we have a studio that I can work out of, and we can do the same thing we did before with the anonymous calls, where I never know what the hell is coming into these headphones. And it's really fun when I have a guest on and they're like, oh my God, what is this? Jesus. Like, they don't know how to react. And, stay tuned as the thing continues on. We're going to do this live. And I've done it live twice, once at the High Plains Comedy Festival, once at South by Southwest. Yeah, that's right. I'm super cool. And it was amazing because we had Baron Vaughn, and we had Open Mike Eagle and Amanda and me. And we started out by going, hey, does anyone know what this show is? And they're all like, no. We had like a sold out house. They kind of just came because they knew me from comedy, or they liked the name Advice from a Dipshit, because hell, who doesn't? But I had a full house, and we play all the things. And to hear those calls come into a theater through the speakers was eerie and fantastic. And I think everyone in the audience, you could see their eyes light up because they all in their heads went, oh, I know what I would tell this person. So at the end of the show, I was like, does anyone need some advice? Something they need help with? And almost every hand went up. And we spent like a half an hour just picking people and stuff. So I want to bring that to fruition more. I want to bring that to you more and have this thing, have a little tour here and there. So appreciate you being with me on This Might Help. You're definitely helping me. I hope I'm helping you. And this is me. Take care of yourself. Hey, welcome to This Might Help. The official /beta /first/second time we're rolling this out. What I mean is, I'll just lay it on the line. We're all going through a rough time right now in the United States and the world. I'm not gonna pussyfoot dance around it. Shit's real fucked up, man, as the Lord Jesus Christ would say, in different words. But look, my original idea with this podcast was to do one episode by myself, and last week we did a practice episode, as we called it. And there's a couple calls in there that I had already taken with Amanda. And if you're listening to the podcast, this is episode 2. You've already heard the episode I'm talking about. And some of you might have been like, hey, what the shit? I heard that one. Well, we were only trying it as kind of what you call a beta, not real rollout. But from everyone I've talked to, people are kind of starving for podcast listening material. And so I think far be it from me to go, oh, yeah, let's just keep that one. I'd rather just make, as many good episodes as we can, and B, just roll them out. I'd rather just roll them out to get things out in front of people, because at the same time, me not having heard some of those is great. The other ones, I one or two I had heard, but I also don't care. There are people who haven't heard the podcast before, and there are people who are just joining us now. And to those of you who are, thanks for listening. And so that was for you and kind of for everybody, because right now I think we have to do that simultaneous thing of sticking together but staying apart. Social distancing is important. We all have to do that. If you're wondering how I'm recording this, well, I came to the studio here at the Syndicate and parked my car and went in through a door that I used my sleeve to open, and I went and sat down, and Chris, the engineer, and I have not been closer than 8 or 9 feet away from each other. So we are social distancing, and this is one of those things where I'm driving across town and I'm getting in my car and driving and then getting out of my car at the destination. I'm not stopping for a greasy chili dog just in some random place or anything like that. Not that greasy chili dogs cause coronavirus, but they are delicious. Now that I've said that, now I want one. So I want to drive back, and I'm going to stop for one, and I'm going to break my word. No, but I've just been paying as much attention to the news as I can without kind of fucking losing it. If you follow me on social media, you know I posted a list of scary movies that I like that are on streaming services that you can listen to, because I feel horror movies are cathartic, strangely enough. If you're watching something that isn't real, like zombies. Sorry, nerds, that's not a fucking thing. I have friends who definitely go into buildings and check for exits, which I think is safe. You should do that anyway. But like, they do that so they won't get eaten by zombies. It's just not ever going to happen. Not like ever in a million years. How would they be ambulatory? How would they move around? They have rotting limbs. They're dead. Like, even if someone, look, you can't stimulate dead tissue. I don't care what Dr. Frankenstein tells us in the movie. But anyway, watching these movies gives you a little bit of perspective. And for me, it gives you a little bit, I should say, different anxiety, like a fun anxiety that you get from watching an action movie. Like the Marvel movies are great to watch because you know they're going to win and you're going to have some fun fight scenes and things. But at the same time, watching a rom-com is fun too because it's a story. It's not real. Right now, I suggest reading as much good fiction as you can, reading as much nonfiction that isn't based in the realm of the pandemic. You should stimulate your mind in other ways. Definitely practice social distancing. Definitely stay away from people. Stay at home and all that jazz. Don't travel unless you absolutely have to, and even then think about it. But look, the bottom line is I am just trying to pump out as many podcasts as I can within the framework of my time, within the framework of the Syndicate guys' time, and just get this to you. Hope you guys like the theme song. That's Ben Wise, of course, who creates those, and we have a lot of fun. But I just hit him up and was like, hey, can you make me a theme song? And I'll leave it up to you. Just make it wacky. And he sent me this amazing track, and I sent him those vocal snippets that he put all over it. So at some point, once everyone can get back together again, we might do what we used to do and go in his home studio outside of his house and record a thing and write it and work on the ideas for the music and the theory and all that jazz and write the lyrics and sounds like our old shit was like fucking Mozart the way I'm talking about it, the way like we were Robert Plant and Jimmy Page or something, but when basically I just was like, how about Ding Donger with the Matt Braunger? I think we're done. I think we did it. I think that's a good-ass tune we just wrote. But you get what I'm saying. I mean, I'm even avoiding that. This is one of those things where I spent years on Ding Donger with Matt Braunger where I'd be on the road and I didn't invest in the right equipment or things like that, and so I would just do it. I just record the podcast into my phone, and some of those episodes are frankly kind of unlistenable. And so while you're listening to me, I want this to come through clearly. And I don't believe I'm putting myself at any real additional risk. So, shit, enough about that stuff. What I wanted to do is I wanted to do one episode by myself and then do the second on down the line with a different, interesting guest. And right now, I can't do that because everyone is with their families and we can't get people together. And I honestly don't really want to do a thing where we Skype them in and we both listen to stuff and we have like different reactions. I mean, I'm not Terry Gross. I don't have that kind of technical capability where you can have the person on the screen and I just stay in my home in Philadelphia or her recording studio, wherever she does it. I think they'll be pumping out fresh airs for longer than I'm alive. God bless them. Great show. But as far as what the formerly called advice from a dipshit, we're going to do it like this for this foreseeable future, and hope you guys keep listening. So thank you for listening. Hang in there. Don't let the anxiety wrench you to the ground. I had a real fucking night last night where I just had nightmare after nightmare after nightmare, which is not something I typically do. Sometimes I don't sleep great, and sometimes I drink too much water before I go to bed, and I got to get up and piss, 17 times like a grandpa or something. But like this is one of those nights where I just kept doing that thing where every time I go to sleep, my anxiety would just pump some narrative into me where I was like, okay, I went from I'm trapped at night in a building and there's something trying to get me in the building, woke up, what the living fuck, had a little water, took a piss, went back to bed, had a dream about someone breaking into my fucking house. And like I woke up thinking I heard dung, 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 like a knock on the door in the middle of the night. Is there anything more fucking scary than that? Just the idea. If you lay in bed at night and imagine, what if someone knocked? That'll keep you up for an hour. That's fucked up. And then the next dream was like a bunch of cannibalistic bros that were chasing me in a forest. Like it was like something out of Walking Dead. I was like, I don't even watch that show anymore. What the shit? And I just kept having them. And then you won't fucking believe this. Then around 6 a.m, I smell funk so bad, I think my wife shit her pants. And she never has, At least she hasn't told me. But I was like, oh my God, would you stop farting? Just said that, in my brain. I didn't say that into the darkness of the night and wake her up. Stop farting. Not that asshole. I fart in my sleep all the time, I'm sure. I'm in my 40s. Practically my job. So, I looked at her and I was like, what is that smell? And I was like, oh, fuck, it's gas. So I woke her up and I was like, babe, I think we have a gas leak. And she's like, what? And I was like, you get up. I called the gas company and they were like, get out of the area. And I'm like, you don't mean the neighborhood? We're quarantined. And she's like, no, like go to a different part of your house. And like I called and the guy showed up within an hour. But like by then it's 5:30 and the guy gets there like 6:30 and he checked it out and there's no leak. So, I mean, not that I've used up all my anxiety, but holy living fuck. What a night. I mean, right, I'm recording this. It's on St. Pat's. I'm going to have a whiskey and a beer or two to fucking mellow the hell out, you know? Because you can do that in the comfort of your own home. But the other thing I'll ask is you don't self-medicate too fucking much. Don't use this as an excuse. I'm just going to get fucked up in my house. I mean, look, if you need to, you need to. Go ahead and do it once or twice. But I'm saying don't make that your MO. And I made a video that's out now about things to not do when you're quarantined with your spouse. Because I did a couple of them. We got into a big fight yesterday. Not about me being drunk or anything like that, but just like about little things you argue about when you're married because we're stuck there in the house. But take a walk, you know, if you're getting too hot-headed, that's fine. That's allowed. Just stay away from people. Obviously, restaurants and bars are pretty much closed. You can stay out of those. You can still go to some stores. I would say stay out of them. Be outside if you can. For those of you where it's cold, I'm sorry. Hang in there. Yeah. So on that note, trying to make this a little more fun than things are to keep your mind off of things, but I thought I would touch base. This is the second episode we've recorded, and this is we're moving into the time where we've been like, you know, 4 or 5 days of staying home, and you know, it's starting to wear on us. So I'm excited to be out though, recording this with you guys. So Chris, roll the first call, would you?
Hey, Matt. I guess first time, long time. I'm in a bit of a pickle. As a bartender, I'm generally used to giving advice rather than receiving it, but I'm
True.
in a unique position to receive it from the more anonymous, the better.
Well, I'm here.
A little background. I have been in a romantic relationship with this girl, and if it weren't for the distance between us, for sure we would be in a committed relationship, and she's totally fucking wonderful. But because of the distance, you know, whatever life has. Today, I've been in the works of making a spring break vacation to a resort where we would spend several days together romantically, and it would be a lot of fun and totally fucking rad. But today she let me know that once upon a time ago she was in a relationship where her partner cheated on her and gave her herpes.
All right.
And now I am on the receiving end of this terrible, steaming pile of bad news.
Sorry. Sorry to laugh.
Obviously, first things first, I've already made an appointment to get tested, and whatever comes from that, be what it may.
Smart.
But I'm curious what your take of how this relationship, platonic or otherwise, should go. She's a really great person.
Is that it? Yeah. Okay. Well, hell. Look, first off, I think that trip's called off probably by now. If that's recent, the coronavirus has put a stop to that trip. That's not happening. Look, the one thing, I will say for all those people out there there are people listening, I'm sure that have herpes, that have the old herp. have the herpy Hancock. No one calls it that. They are, I'm sure, kind of going, don't do the obvious thing and say, oh, fuck that chick, don't ever go near her thing. And I'm not going to. Like, I have friends that have it. You know, one of which is out and about it is Erin Gibson. She talks about it in her act, and she talks about how this guy gave it to her and without telling her, and she dumped him, and she's now married to someone else now, and God bless. It's just one of those incurable things that the thing is they flare up, they flare down, and you're only going to get it from her if you're doing it or fooling around while it's flared up, and you guys just have to take serious precautions. There's no more get drunk and fall into the sack whenever you want kind of thing. It's really, I just want to tell you, it's all up to you how much, it just depends on how committed you are to this woman. But I will say, going from how I'm listening to you talk, you keep just saying how great she is, what a great girl she is. And speaking as someone who has gotten, I can't tell you how many rejections in this business. I feel like Gilbert Gottfried nailed it when he said, you fucked when they tell you they love you. You know, that's one of those things. You'll get like, did you get the pitch pack? And yes, and you got and Matt pitched the show. Yes, we think it's such a great idea. We love Matt Braunger. We love him. Oh, we love him so much. But we're not going to go forward with it at this time. It's not. But we love him. And to me, it sounds like you keep saying what a great person she is. And honestly, if when I've broken up with a girl, I've done that bullshit where you're like, the thing is, you're so amazing. And like, it's not like the person be like, oh my God, that's so touching, but you don't want to be with me. Like, I hate to say it, but you kind of almost might as well be like, hey, this person sucks. Not saying you should, and do not do that. But at the same time, it's just, I don't think you love her, man. That's what it sounds like to me. If you love this person, you will, move mountains and oceans to be with them, and that's what's up. And you're going to be with them despite them having the herp. Just like I would if I suddenly discovered my wife fucked a dirty sailor. I'm kidding. But like, you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry to make fun. This is such a weird time. My instinct is just to fucking do the silliest jokes here and there. So please don't get angry at me or offended. I don't mean to offend, but I just don't think you love her. From what I'm listening to, from your tone of voice, it just seems like you're not in it to win it. So my advice to you is to be honest with yourself, and if you don't love her, let her go. Because that's what it's come down to with this person. Or if you're willing to work it out and figure something out, get all the medical information you can, talk with her about it. I will give her so much credit for fucking telling you before the two of you got involved physically. That's more power to her. But, and also, the thing is, I don't know if this is an old one. I don't know if this is a new one. You might have gone on this trip and didn't have time to listen to me. If this is recent, there's no way this trip is happening. I was supposed to go to San Francisco this weekend. My wife and I, we go every fucking year, and I don't do any shows, and she doesn't do any business, and we just enjoy ourselves. And the time before last, we got goddamn butt tattoos. And also, I was supposed to talk about that butt tattoo in an upcoming special. It's supposed to be taping at a festival that's coming up, and that festival has got moved to later in the year. So I don't know if I'm taping the special then, if I'm going to give it another 5 months. I probably will. But, not that you give a fuck, you person with the girlfriend with the STD. But listen, what I'm saying is I don't think you're going to go on that trip. So, dude, thanks for calling. Really appreciate you. And awesome. Okay, let's roll another one, Chris.
Hey, Matt. So I've been in a relationship for a little bit over a year, and my partner is like chronically depressed, and I'm a therapist. I do crisis work, so the clients the clients that I work with are dealing with some really, really heavy stuff. And I also struggle with depression, but I'm in therapy, I take meds, I have, support groups that I go to. So
Nice.
I feel like I do a lot of self-care to kind of manage it. And my boyfriend won't go to therapy. He won't look into medication. He kind of doesn't take care of himself. He's always sleep deprived, and just depressed, and it's really hard to watch him go through that. I think it makes me really sad because he's a really, really good boyfriend. He kind of is the type of person that puts everyone before himself. But yeah, he won't get help. I've tried talking to him about it. I've tried having friends talk to him about it, but he's so depressed that when people reach out to meet up with him, then he cancels or doesn't follow up. I've talked to my therapist about it. And I just don't really know what to do because it doesn't feel sustainable for me to be with somebody who's depressed and won't get help. But I also love this person a lot. He's so many great qualities. This is really the only issue I have in a relationship. So any help at all would be super appreciated. Really love the show. Thank you so much. Bye.
Hey, thanks for calling, and thanks for adding so much information. That's one of the hardest things we've had to get across to people is that they don't give us enough information to base things upon. And I feel like you laid it out. You definitely love this person. They are clinically depressed. They won't get help for it. They won't, no professional help. They won't, from there, talk about medication or anything. You are getting professional help for your issues. You help others. I think just to draw from my life, my now wife, she definitely gave me an ultimatum at one point and was like, here's what I want to do. I want to get married. So if you don't want to get married, I should start thinking about moving on. And it was one of those things where it's just the kick in the ass I needed because I was like, I don't want to lose this person. I was never someone that was like, oh, fuck yeah, marriage, which is weird because you talk to most men, they're like, ugh, can't wait. They're 18 years old. They're just like, I don't give a shit about chasing ass. I just want to get married right now, have 1 billion kids. Now, of course, yes, I was being very stereotypical even in my late 30s, early 40s, but I needed that to kind of just consider and think about. And she gave me every out. She was like, look, it's fine if you don't want to, but we should work toward splitting up. We got to figure out what direction we're going. And it was like, it's what I needed. So I was like, no. And I was like, I want that too. Even though at the time I was kind of like, I don't know, but every good thing I've had in my life, and this is maybe what you should say to your guy, in terms of him getting therapy, is I just didn't know how it was going to work out, but I gave it a fucking shot. My career, my wife, doing podcasting, hell, masturbating over a sink in my hotel room. It's the perfect height. I'm very tall. Certain things, you might not think you'd like them. Okay, that last example is fucking gross and ridiculous, but why not? I think you have to give him an ultimatum. I don't think you have a choice. Or leave him. You have two choices. You can either just be like, fuck you, bro, and out the door. Or you can be like, look, you have to get help. You have to get therapy. I am living in a lot of pain right now for no good reason. Or I'll go. It's really up to you. If you genuinely believe in keeping me happy. I remember there's this time, and I might have talked about this on the show, but I was in a ride share, like a Lyft or an Uber, and this dude driving me, it still just puts a twist in my fucking panties thinking about this guy because he was just annoying. He's older than me. So that means old enough to know better. And was like, do you think that you can start again in life? Which, that's not annoying. And I was like, what a question. I was like, hell yeah, you can, dude. No matter what your age is. It's your life. He's like, so I just have this girlfriend. And he went through this thing of how this girlfriend, everyone in his family hated her. He didn't even really like her that much. She won't change. She won't go through hell. he can't get away from her. And I'm like, okay, well, look, dude, you either have to dump that person and say, stay the fuck away from me. Well, I kind of like her in my life. Well, you like her in her life? Okay, you guys should go to couples therapy. But she won't. Okay, then kick her out of your life. Well, I kind of like her in my life. Okay, then the two of you should go to couples therapy. Well, I won't. And he kept just looking for a magical door that doesn't exist. I mean, everyone in his life is looking for a magical door. I sure as fuck was. Just like when I was trying to figure out if I should or should not be with my wife, I wanted it both ways. It's like when I wanted to break up with her, I wanted her to still like me. You can't fucking have that, asshole. You can't. So, like, this guy just kept going, well, I don't know, I want to be with her, but, then go to therapy. I don't want to go she doesn't want to go. And I just kept going, break up. And then he'd go, therapy. I'd go, break up. And he'd go, therapy. Like, I just kept cutting him off to the point where I'm just like, I just kept, no shit, just kept yelling from the back of the seat the same fucking thing until he dropped me off. And he never stopped. He never stopped going, no, but I think... but you won't, like, it was a thing where, I'm not that guy that sits here and goes, oh, you fucking cuck. Like, I never use that word, or you bitch, you fucking, God damn it. But he just wouldn't face the two things he had to do. So, but you're not like that. You seem like you've got some passion and some, some real human, drive to help not only him, but yourself. So like, I think those are your two options, bud. I think you and for those of you who think I forgot I'm talking to a woman, I call everyone bud or buddy, just to be, safe and just as a friend, I'm not gonna be like, listen, sweetheart, light a cigar, do a shot of scotch. Do you shoot scotch? No. You just have to either go, look, man, you got to get help, or start going to therapy. I have to start seeing you make changes, or we got to break up. Like, that's it. So thanks for calling. Really appreciate you. All right, let's check the last and final call of the episode.
Hey, Matt. I have kind of a serious question here, so hopefully I don't bring the whole show down.
Shit.
My mom has been dealing with a cancer. She was a cancer survivor, went into remission for about a year and a half, maybe 2 years. She has since gotten a completely different kind of cancer in a completely different area.
Oy.
And so back in July, she had a surgery to remove the cancer and the associated parts. She then had a scan Friday of last week and found out that, in fact, no, there's a mass that's, centimeters, like a potato-sized mass, and then a bunch of little ones that are too small to be measured.
Oy.
My question is, why am I having such a hard time dealing with this in terms of caring about it? I love my mom. I love, my family. I don't have any issues with them. She's always been a bit on the dependent side. She's always kind of needed a little bit of extra from us, which can be draining at times, but it's just kind of her personality type. I had the same thing when my grandma passed last April. I was unable to process it, and I almost felt like I was a sociopath where I had no emotions, good or bad, basically right up until the day she died. I'm not in denial about it. I understand that life ends.
Yeah.
What's going on with me? Why am I having such a hard time wanting to deal with this? Is it me not wanting to come to terms with my own parents' mortality, or my own, or I just don't know. Hopefully I gave you enough information there.
Totally.
And you can maybe help me out. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, dude, thanks for calling in. And one thing I will say, as always, thanks for calling everyone who just bothers to even do it at all. But I think a lot of times, if longtime listeners will know, you'll hear people call and they'll kind of settle into themselves. And this might have been the first time they've actually said it out loud. And I think I heard that with this dude. And thanks for your call, dude. But first, there's nothing wrong with you. We all deal with things differently. Some people laugh at funerals, and it's not like they're, I hope not, being like, oh, I'm glad that person's dead. It's just how your body copes. It's how your psyche copes. We all cry at similar things typically, but we'll cry at different things and or react to different things. I think, man, it's you're kind of lucky to have that, to not have that kind of constant pain. I make fun of myself and call myself a sap because I cry easy at things and I'm emotional and stuff. But at the same time, should I put myself down for it? No. And if you're not like that, should you put yourself down for that? No. The thing is, you're helping. What's better? You be not helping and you cry. You go somewhere and pray for her, but don't drive her to the hospital. It's like, that's some bullshit. I think one of the hardest things for me in therapy was trying to let myself feel like I deserve certain things. And I know a lot of you people hate listening to me and go, what do you mean? Like a punch in the mouth? You fucking piece of shit. Well, listen, I don't know why you still listen to this. All right, Uncle Steve. But you can just fuck right off. I don't have an Uncle Steve. I wish I did, even if he hated me. Uncle Steve. You smell like Cutty Sark. But it was a hard thing to go, oh, I'm not an awful person, as weird as that sounds. I think we all kind of have a little bit of a derogatory attitude toward ourselves, generally speaking. We all self-depreciate and things. And look, man, you're looking for an answer I don't have in terms of why you feel the way you feel. But what I can tell you with some authority as an adult person and man is there's nothing wrong with you. You just react the way you react. But you are being a dutiful son, and it sounded like you're a dutiful grandson, and that's really all you can do. It's really all you can be in terms of this person. Yeah, okay, if your mom's very needy and stuff, that can be tough, but I think you're reacting to it in a good way as long as you're there for her. So just keep on keeping on and don't let one thing I rail against is the whole idea of like, you should be like this, you should be like that. Especially at like this age or that age, or you should do this if you're a man, you should do this if you're a woman, if you're non-binary, you don't matter, like bullshit like that. You're not real, all that crap. That's why I call this the no bullshit zone. The no bullshit zone. Coming to Fox. I don't know, but yeah, there's no should outside of do what you feel is right and fulfill your duties. You're there. You're being a good son. So give yourself a little credit there. Take the load off your shoulders and stop, as I say, kicking your own ass, because life's going to do that anyway. So guys, hang in there. It's a tough fucking time. I remain optimistic. We're going to make it through this. And just practice social distancing. Hopefully by the time this comes out, we're not in a post-apocalyptic world, and my wife has not had to sell me for meat, which is what we've agreed upon we're going to do. I think mine would be delicious, much like pork. But anyway, that aside, who do I don't know. You might be listening to this on a pirated Zune. Remember those fuckers? And you're eating my thigh right now. That was dark. But bottom line, hang in there, guys. Check out all the bullshit I'm putting online to entertain, and we'll see you next time. Hey, This Might Help, episode 3. If you've been keeping up, I'm guest free for the foreseeable future, at least, because of the virus and the social distancing and what's going on. I just don't want to have someone feel pressured to come and be around people. I don't want to ask guests. Like, I don't think I'm putting myself at risk, or the engineer who's here, Chris, here, but he's the only person I've seen since I've walked out of my car, and I used my sleeve to open the door, So we're being safe. Everything's sanitized. Everything's, clean clean and all that jazz. I'm using headphones that have been in a stock room for the past 2 months. So, hey, they haven't been around anyone who has been infected. So, just in case you're wondering, are you recording this at home, idiot? You should be. Okay, maybe you're right. But look, I'm hedging all my bets in the best possible way. Hope everyone's not losing their minds. And to be honest, I'm recording this back-to-back with the last episode, so I don't know what's going on. Hopefully, people have wised up. I got a little freaked out watching people packed dancing around in Dayton Beach in Florida like a bunch of fucking morons. Bound to go home and maybe spread some death among their elderly relatives. I don't know. I knock on wood, hope not, but they keep discovering new cases all the time. So, I'm not going to dwell on that. If you missed last episode, I was talking about why I'm pumping these out is because there is a dearth of new podcasts coming out because of the situation, and a lot of people are, well, almost all of us, stranded at home and need stuff to listen to. So I'm just going to keep on keeping on as long as you keep listening. I'm not going to be like, I'm recording one a day because, A, people are not going to call in that much, and B, I don't want you to fucking get sick of me. There's a lot of other people that you can listen to. There's tons of content. There's movies you can watch at home. There's books you can read. There's people who can fuck and can also fuck you, right? If you're already close with them. And I'm leaving out the most important. There's porn you can jack off to, or flick your hairy bean, maybe even shove a thumb in your butthole, or put artificial paragenitals on you. I don't know. You get what I'm saying. You can occupy yourself without me flooding your life with 3-hour-long podcasts. We are generally keeping these episodes to a half an hour to 45 minutes a piece to not take up too much of your life. So, you get what I'm saying. And there we go. It's funny. There's someone that's been out in the parking lot gunning the engine of what sounds like a Ferrari, and it's pretty funny. I don't know if you can hear it through the thing. I don't really care. I don't think it bothers you. You probably can't even hear it. But, Chris just put up a little barrier, but it was one of those things where, to me, it's so funny. Anytime you're recording or shooting anything in a city as big and loud as Los Angeles, you immediately get angry when you're recording or filming and something loud goes on, as if people have to treat you as if everywhere you are is a studio. I do remember on Up All Night, a show I was on, 8 or 9 years ago, there's a house this block that they shot on that turned out to be one of those streets that people divert onto to get off of Ventura Boulevard in the Valley, which is the busiest street in the Valley, arguably. And they would go on this street, and so they would block it off, and people would get so fucking mad. And then when they were done shooting, they would let the cars drive by. And so you had people in cars yelling at me and Will Arnett and Christina Applegate, and we're like, we didn't pick the house. And some people would be waiting, and they'd blow the shot by just honking, knowing it, fuck you. Merp. Yeah, you just lost $5,000, NBC. Merp, merp. Oh, the anguish, the anxiety. Not that you're any stranger to that these days. Things are strange. But I will say that did kind of, it annoyed me hearing that car engine going, but at the same time it made me laugh, because that kind of thing does crack me up. It's kind of like how life will just interfere with you hilariously. You've ever been trying to tell someone a secret, and right then someone will just stand right next to you that you don't know, and you're like, man, why are you there? Will you move on? And look, right now we're in a time of social distancing, and so this is the first time I've been in an airport. I've been in an airport last weekend, if you can believe that. If you listen to this, that was 3 weeks ago or 2. So I haven't been in an airport since, and won't for weeks. But I used to, anytime I was in an airport, because I'm a tall man, I'd just be standing. I would just pick a spot, outside the gate, waiting until they call the number. Because my thing is always I'm going to sit on this plane for hours. I don't need to sit here waiting for the flight. I'm just going to stand up, walk around a little bit, let my legs and butt and back get tired, and then I'll sit on the plane. I may earn that sitting time. And so I'll just be standing there, and someone will come and stand right the fuck next to me. Like I'm a load-bearing pole. They'll just stand right next to me. And I never understood that. And I think it's just security. They're just like, oh, is this where we stand? I'll stand by the tall guy. I think if we were in Chewbacca times, like Star Wars times, Chewbacca just stands somewhere. Someone would just go stand by Chewbacca. Like, I don't even know what this guy is, but he's tall and I feel safe. I'm going to go stand by him. So, but now people are not doing that. No one's standing by anybody, man. And no one's really in airports now, which is good and healthy. But thanks for all the calls. I had a few people that are new listeners that are trying to get the idea of the format. If you're debating whether or not to call, you should, and I'll tell you why. Because there is absolutely no risk of anyone picking up the phone. I had a few people that called in and they thought, oh, well, I don't want to tell my problems to a stranger. You don't have to. You just leave a message. Some people call when they're real drunk, to get over that hump, and that's fun, and that's fine. I'm not saying you should do that. In fact, you probably shouldn't, but, there's no risk. Call and just leave something. No one's going to know it's you. That's the fantastic thing. We will always keep this anonymous. And one of the biggest hurdles we had was after Amanda and I parted ways, she had all these banked calls, and we'll use some of them. I feel like these things are generally time sensitive, so we want to use more. So if you can, call in 323-763-0228. Once again, that's 323-763-0228. So we can get some new ones, but we had some old ones. And the thing with it is I would love to cull through these, but I can't. The big hook of my show is I do not hear these calls ever until we're rolling, so that I can't prepare or wriggle out of a tricky one. My only rule is I'm going to treat every question with the respect it deserves. If you call and you're shitty, I'll be shitty back. But for the most part, if you're calling with a real problem, I'm going to approach it seriously with my incredible lack of expertise. Again, I am not a professional. If you need actual medical help, please get some. I go to a therapist twice a month, and it helps me a lot. But this is for fun, and there's no risk to you, but maybe I can help you out a little bit, and I will approach it based on my life experience, a lot of which was really fucking dumb. I've always thought about just making a list of all the stupid shit I've done in my life, and I think maybe I'm more in touch with my stupid shit than some people. I probably haven't made much more than a lot of people out there, but I continue to F up here and there, but I try and often fail to learn from it. So yeah, just call in 323-763-0228. Fuck it, man. Pause this and call, and then unpause it. I won't get the call for this episode, but I want to get some fresh new shit. So I appreciate you, and continue to listen and call. Tell your friends about it. Rate us, obviously, on Apple Podcasts. Give us the old 5 stars if you can, and social media, all that jazz. Because we're trying to pump these out. We're trying to get a half an hour out, once or twice a week. We're still kind of debating that, but it's going to be regular. It's going to be one of those things that's going to continue sans guests for a little bit. But thankfully, I am hilarious and charming, and you will enjoy. So with that bit of fucking bullshit, let's roll the first call, Chris, if you will.
Hey, Matt.
Oops.
So I'm in a pickle, and I need some help. I've got a 4-year-old, and my wife is currently pregnant. We're due in July.
Congrats.
With a boy. So I have a girl and a boy.
Nice.
And now I'm faced with the choice of who's going to be my favorite kid.
Oh, yeah.
Because no matter what any parent says, they have a favorite kid. I'm my mom's favorite kid. My sister's my dad's favorite kid.
Bold.
So how do I choose? Please let me know.
What a dick. I love this guy. I don't actually think he's a dick, but he really feels that way. That's fascinating. And I guess that's true. God, I saw Gerard Carmichael, a very funny comic who is a Comedy Store guy like me, and he had this the funniest bit about how he has a brother, and his mother said she could never choose between the two of them, and Gerard was like, Mom, I bought you a fucking house. The whole thing was like, if you even think that this, his words, N-word, comes anywhere near me, this mother, and it goes through it, and it's so cold-blooded, but I loved it because it was mean and petty and well said, and he's a funny guy. But man, I don't know. I mean, I gotta say, if you're gonna pick a favorite, I would honestly. My wife and I do not have a kid yet, but I think if between the two, I think I would. Women have it hard enough. I think you got to pick the girl, man. And I think that's daddies love their daughters, and it's just that thing. And if I got to pick one. But that's the thing. You cannot choose. You won't be able to choose. See? Ha-ha, motherfucker. You think you're so special. You're not going to be able to. One of them will speak to your soul in a different way than the other one, and you're just going to feel the way you feel. It's funny. One of my best friends, she was engaged to a dude, and before she and he had even met, and he was a good dude. He was a good guy. He was a lawyer. Made a good living, and she told me, in confidence at one point. She was Jewish, is Jewish, and she was like, "I really want to marry a Jewish guy." And I was like, "Okay, good luck with that." And I didn't mean in terms of like good luck marrying a Jewish guy, not like that, but like good luck choosing ahead of your own heart. Because you meet who you meet, and your heart chooses. The heart wants what it wants. I believe you can learn to love someone, yes, but unless you have that thing to start with. Anyway, years later, she's with that guy, and we had a nice night together and stuff, and we went out and had some drinks. They lived in San Francisco at the time, and then she and I were a little in our cups later, a little drunk together, just walking. I think she walked me to the train station or something, and she's like, I don't know, he's great. She's like, what do you think about him? And I'm like, you don't love him. And I just said it. Like it just fell out of my mouth like a cup of barf, just out of my semi-drunk head. I just was like, I'm not going to lie, you don't love him. And she just bawled. She just started crying so fucking hard. And I hugged her, and I think she broke up with him very soon. And good for her and good for him. No one wants to be with someone that doesn't love them, So she's now with a man who's not Jewish, and not that this guy being Jewish had anything to do with her not loving him at all. Fuck that if you think that, or if you think I'm saying that, I'm not. But my point is, the heart loves what it loves and wants what it wants. So, bro, you don't get to choose, and I can't tell you. I would say if you had your druthers, maybe the girl, because women have it harder in my mind. But that said, I don't know. You might have a son that you just connect with way better. So that's how I feel. And you know what? On top of that, the weird thing is, I'm fucking right. God damn it, I'm right. But I love how you laid it out. Everyone's someone's favorite, and the other one can go fucking screw. I'm my mom's favorite. Everyone else in the family can eat a bag of dick and balls of shit. So that was very enjoyable. I loved how just plaintive you were. You just laid it right out. You just like, everyone does this, which is mine, go. And that's a perfect example of someone being not that specific, but specific. So thumbs up to you, man. But in terms of what you want specifically, you're fucked. All right, Chris, let's roll the next one.
Hey, Matt, got a question for you. Let's say two people are seeing each other, or more specifically, sleeping with each other.
Let's say.
One of those people is into the natural hairy look and or feel.
Nice.
The other prefers to be shaved, or at least as smooth as humanly possible.
Wow.
Should the hairy person shave for the non-hairy lover, or should the non-hairy lover stop shaving or depilating or whatever it is they do?
Wow.
Basically, should you make your pubic hair for your partner or for yourself? I guess that's my question. Hope you're having a great day. Enjoy.
I quit. Holy shit. That's a tough one. A, thanks for calling. B, holy shit, what a stumper. This is probably the hardest one I've gotten since that time that dude called in and said, "Where do you throw away trash cans?" Mind blowing. Who does what for whom? Does the bald genital person who loves the smoothness get both the smooths, or does the person who likes the hairy get both the hairies? Man, that's tough. I've never really had that problem, because it's just never really been broached. I've never shaved my balls. I've trimmed them down, mostly just in the park. One hand on the sandwich, other hand just like with mini shears, just snipping away at my pubes. No, I've never had that thing where I'm like, I like it smooth or I like it really hairy. I've kind of always been like, I just like it. I like it how it is. But boy, I don't know. I appreciate you, sir, and I appreciate your VO quality dad voice. Sound like a cool rustic customer. You sound like an Old West bartender. And it sounds like you're trying to advise a couple rough-hewn cowboys, one of which likes it smooth, on whether they should stay together or not. It really just comes down to, and this is a fucking cop-out, but I don't have an answer, is it comes down to the couple. It comes down to them having a conversation about what they want from each other and how important hair or no hair is. I'd imagine the easy compromise in my mind could be like, oh, they're just both a little stubbly, but that's not going to make either one happy. I think from the people I've talked to that are really into that stuff, if people like hairy, they just like it, they like it crazy bushy. But if people like smooth, they like smooth. There's kind of a never the twain shall meet thing. I think, brother, I think you just rewrote Romeo and Juliet. I think you did. I think you just created star-crossed lovers. This is Lady and the Tramp. This is Against All Odds by Phil Collins. This is you writing a new version of that, of these people who shouldn't be together. This is Opposites Attract by Paula Abdul. Yeah, and what the fuck was that rapping cat's name? The cat with charisma, MC Scat Cat. Oh. What a dark time for hip-hop and rap music. But you know what I'm saying? I think the answer is there is no answer. The two people just kind of have to talk to each other, and one has to, God damn it, it's like the Highlander. There can be only one. There has to be smooth or hairy. Oh, Jesus Christ. What a fucking question. Honestly, I think you could put this to like a panel of sex therapists, and they wouldn't have a better question than me. And I'm not bigging myself up. I'm not giving myself a ton of credit here or anything, but that is just what a good question. What a stumper. That's up there with asking a priest, to rip off George Carlin from the album Class Clown. Is God so mighty that he can make a stone so big that he himself cannot lift it? Right? No. Oh, God can't do a thing, but he's God. Right? Whose balls remain lush and whose remain sheared? This is like a biblical conundrum. This is like the tale of Solomon. Wow. This is a really incredible question, man. And you didn't help me out at all. Fuck. I feel like you just handed me that goddamn box from Hellraiser. Solve it, or you go to hell. God damn it! Is that things aren't hard enough? I'm kidding. It's not that bad. We gotta admit that's the only real bad analogy I use. The rest are pretty fucking aces. Let's be honest. Okay, so we have one more. And thanks for calling, dude. And go get some voiceover work, or else work at an Old West theme bar. Yeah, so let's roll the last call there, Chris.
Hey, Matt. My name's Cole. Big fan. So I am looking for some advice specifically regarding employment. So I, probably like many of your listeners, are a dumb lefty creative type that is struggling to find work in the dumb lefty creative field. And obviously, finding work in that area can be very difficult. And so you often need what many refer to as a sustenance job, that you can keep the lights on and pursue your creative stuff on the side until something cool eventually comes along. But my problem is that I have a horrible nightmare brain, and I cannot get myself to engage in work that I don't find to be meaningful, which is to say, when I work a retail job, I feel like I'm losing my fucking mind, and I have no idea how to handle it. And the only advice I've ever been given is, yeah, bro, you just gotta fucking deal with it. Just gotta deal with that shit, and then work that job forever, and then be too tired to be creative, and then eventually dive into a wood chipper. So, any advice you might be able to offer in that area would be greatly appreciated. Appreciate it.
I think the answer to your problem is therapy, because you're going to have to work those jobs, at least starting out, especially now. But it's you just need, like anything, the key to life in a lot of ways is perspective. I think you're looking at everything wrong. What you're doing is, while you're at that job, forgetting that you can be creative at those jobs. You can have a notepad in your pocket. You can write down ideas. You can develop things in your mind while you're folding sweaters. You kind of have to be able to do two things at once, while at the same time fulfilling your duties. And just a friend of mine said to me recently, like, the worst thing you can do in life is be bitter, because it just doesn't serve any purpose at all. It's self-defeating, while at the same time you are indulging yourself. You're basically eating an angry sundae, something that's tasty at the time but is really fucking bad for you, and it's way too big, and you should be sharing that. God damn it. So yeah, you just need to look at things differently, and I would advise just getting a therapist, even if you have to apply for aid to get it, or go to a support group of some kind to just barf out your shit. There are ones that aren't just for 12-step programs. There are groups of people you can go and talk to anonymously that are not your friends, that you can kind of bounce that off of, because you were in dire need of perspective, because I talked earlier about, or in another episode, about hoping there's a magic door. And I have a friend who has been kind of looking for a magic door for a long, long time. But we all are on some level, but I mean, we're in the entertainment industry. But what this friend does is, he doesn't prepare for the future. And I am not the best at preparing for the future. I don't have a ton in savings or anything like that. So, which is something I'm working on. But this person, he will just get a lead on something and be like, "Ooh, I hope that pays off." And then if that thing doesn't pay off, he's like, "Fuck it." But he's done nothing in the meantime. I had another friend who, when I was in Chicago, I bartended I waited tables, and he was like, "Hey, can you check for me about getting a job there?" And he came in and applied, and then the management told me, "We know it's your friend. We don't really love him. We don't really want him for the job." What I mean by we don't, like, we're not in love with him. That was what I meant. We're not like, we don't love him, not like the weird thing, but you know what I'm saying. They didn't think he was qualified. And so I should have said that to him, but I just figured they'd tell him, and they never fucking told him. And so weeks went by, and he was like, hey, man, they should tell me if I'm not getting that job because, like, I got to start applying to other ones. So I was like, you haven't been applying to any other jobs? It's been 3 weeks, dude. The fuck? Like, it just hit me. It's like, wait, you just assumed because I worked there, you were going to get it in a job, so you could just fuck off for 3 weeks and kind of do nothing. And I've been that lazy. I'm not putting him down. And we were young and stupid back then. But it's that thing where you're kind of just looking for a way where you don't have to do the hard stuff, and there's no way around it. You got to work those jobs. And I get where your brain gets, but just look at that shit as boot camp. Just be like, well, this sucks, but I'll be better off for it. And you will. Working those grind-ass jobs, they make you a better person. Or they make you bitter as shit. Your thing is, since you have to work those jobs, you got to work on being a better person in that regard. That's all, man. Just give it some time. It's going to take a lot of time. And be grateful for that stuff. I say in my act that the only real hard and fast political position that I hold that I feel like people don't talk about enough is if you've never worked a shit job, your opinion is kind of worthless. Like, honestly, if you've never worked front of house at a buffet, or you've never waited tables, you've never bartended, you never worked in a warehouse, you never worked cleaning anything, you never had a hard grind, some job you're like, this fucking sucks. And like, I mean, any age, if you did it in your teen years, you worked at an Arby's, that's a pretty shit job, you know? And shout out to people working at Arby's. Like, right now, if you have a fucking job, amazing. As I record this, all the restaurants are shut down. So fuck, hang in there, guys. Hopefully that has been lifted by now, and they're starting to get a hold on things. But yeah, it's just I think you're looking at things wrong, because you not only can't avoid the grind, you shouldn't want to. I know you want to avoid it. Part of you should be like, all right, this is my time. You sound like a young dude, and I get it. You want to be creative, but there's kind of just no getting it right away. And I think if you got what you wanted to be doing for a living right away, you might be kind of a shit. You might get older and be kind of a shit and think you deserve shit. And I've met a lot of those guys in this business especially, or people that always had family money to fall back on, which I'm assuming you don't if you're worried about these shit jobs. And they're not good people. They're people that quit whenever things get hard. They're people that whine all the time. It's one of those things where I just think, to go back to where I began before I started getting incredibly long-winded, you just need perspective, and just start from there. And also, there's a lot of jobs that'll pay your bills that you might not hate, man. I was a closed captioner for the hearing impaired, which was kind of a drudge based job. I just watched stuff and wrote stuff on a screen and moved the words around and everything. But it was kind of like working as an editor. Sometimes I miss it. Sometimes I miss how I used to just break down a show visually and very technically and stuff. And I miss waiting tables all the time. I met some of the best friends of my life waiting tables and bartending. A lot of times it's like working on a pirate ship, and there's nothing else like it. So you just got to look at what you're thinking of as these shit jobs and just go, look, man, maybe like this is going to be not as bad as I think it will be. But just bust your ass pounding the pavement to find the shit job that works best for you. Guys, thank you for listening. Chris and I just banged out 2 episodes in a row, and we need more calls. So at the risk of beating you over the head with it, the number is 323-763-0228, 323-763-0228. If you're hearing this, call, check into our system. It's a voicemail. There's no pressure. Say whatever you want to say. But, hopefully you'll get on our thing. And if you really want to be in the show, now is the motherfucking time, because we're banking calls. So thanks to the Syndicate Gang. Thanks to 800-Pound Gorilla. Thanks to Chris for being here. And, guys, be safe. Hang in there. And like I always say, and it applies right now more than goddamn ever, don't kick your own ass. because life's going to do that for us anyway. And right now kind of is. But hang in there.
This Might Help with Matt Braunger was created and hosted by me, Matt Braunger. Produced by Outer Circle Media. Executive producers Matt Kleinschmidt and Robert Kelly for the Laugh Button Podcasts.